Good morning, America is a registered trademark of the American Broadcasting Company, and I'm really not supposed to say that at 7 o'clock in the morning, but I'm a rebel. I do what I want to do. Hi, everybody. This is Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. It is Friday. It is the first day of March 2019. February is in the rearview mirror. Good riddance to February. Ugh. Boy, did I pick a good month to go on vacation, didn't I? Of course, I missed the really bad stuff, all that heavy snow. I was down in Arizona playing golf for the first 2 weeks in February. I couldn't have timed that out any better, even though it was just sheer luck. When I booked my vacation, it was like in November. Sometimes these things work out. In any event, we're done with February, a record-setting February. We're going to talk about that real quickly here in just a couple of minutes. Busy show for today, lots of things going on. Arch Ecker is back. We haven't had Arch on this show in a very long time. The broadcasting voice of the Wenatchee Wild. Their quest to defend the Fred Page Cup begins Saturday night against West Kelowna at the Town Toyota Center. We'll preview that series and talk wild hockey with Arch Ecker in the back half of the hour. There's a lot of news to get to. Boy, the newsroom was hopping and a popping yesterday. We'll have some news to get to. Also, sports. Cashmere girls 2 victories away from a state title. Eric Granstrom is down in the Palm Springs of Washington. He'll have a sports report for you when we get to that in just a couple minutes. Plus, we have the obscure holiday today in history, birthdays. Everyone is entitled to Mike McNally's opinion. Also, what's happening this weekend with Megan McPherson. She'll fill you in on those details. Lots going on this time of the year. And let's take you around the valley with our Valley View cameras, shall we? Courtesy of Localtel Sky-Fi High-Speed Wireless. That is the cross camera. It looks like it's pulled back quite a bit. You can see some high clouds. We were supposed to have quite a bit of sunshine yesterday. It didn't quite pan out. Another cold day. 26 was all we got to. 26. Our normal high, 47 for February 28th. That was 21 degrees below normal. We can't bust out of this cold snap. And by the way, it's going to stay well below normal into the middle of March. I kid you not. Yesterday's low, by the way, 14. It was 16 degrees below normal. So we had all that snow, and then it got cold. And it's going to stay that way. It may feel like March 1st, or may be March 1st, but it feels more like February 1st. Camera 1, our cross camera. Camera 2, where are we going, Megan? We're going to go see what's going on the Orondo Rock camera. We used that one yesterday. By the way, there was a 2-car accident on that very highway that you see yesterday. We'll talk about that when we get to the news. So that's panned way back. It's about as far back as that baby goes. In fact, you can even see the support guy wires for the tower that it sits on the right-hand side of your screen. And you can see Turtle Rock, which is way off in the distance there. The Orondo Rock camera and US 2, US 97 on the left-hand side of your screen. Looks like the roadway's pretty much bare and dry there. Camera 3 is going to be a slow dissolve to Union Valley, I want to say. Is that right, Megan? That's is that a thumbs up or a thumbs down? I can't see. That's a thumbs down, she says. You're going to have to tell me what it is then, because I'm striking out on this one, Megan. What are we looking at? We're looking at a beautiful shot is what we're looking at. There you go. Make it up. Tell Alberta, Canada. There you go. That's what we're looking at. Finally, camera 4. Oh, my. Can I go home? Oh, that's got to be Billy Goat. Wow. Just like being in an airplane. Somewhere down there is Pateros, Brewster, Bridgeport. You can see that. You can see Mount Kalispell right smack dab in the middle of your screen. Sun is up. Of course, we're getting longer days. We're gaining about 3 minutes of daylight a day, which isn't bad, but it's still downright cold. An unbelievably gorgeous shot from the Billy Goat camera looking almost straight up the Columbia River, which is also down there. Trust me, it has not gone anywhere. All right, 4.5 minutes after the hour. Before we get to the weather forecast, I want to talk about February, the month that was. It was a record setter for the Wenatchee Valley. We were in contact with the National Weather Service in Spokane. The official Weather Service site, of course, is where they measure the snow in Wenatchee is on the Columbia River, and there you are, right there. 22.1 inches of snow in February. That beat the old record that was set back in 1938 of 21.8 inches. Now, elevation matters because the measuring station in East Wenatchee, where they measure the snow, is about 600 feet higher than the Wenatchee measuring point, and they had 28.3 inches there. Leavenworth ended February with 37.5 inches of snow. Yakima had 30 inches of snow. Snowiest February since they started keeping track of these things, not only for Wenatchee, but for a lot of places. As far as the temperatures were concerned in February, yeah, It was cold. We have a slide to look at that. There you go. We only cracked the freezing mark just a couple of times. All month, we weren't even close to being normal. In fact, although we had a really cold February, it wasn't the coldest February ever. In fact, the month that just came and went comes in 7th all time for the coldest February. The average temperature for the month was 25.7 degrees. That's the average between the high and the low temperatures, by the way. Coldest February on record was back in 1936. I don't remember that. So was it cold in February? Yes. Was it snowy in February? Yes. Are we done with this stuff? Snow-wise, quite probably. Temperature-wise, we are not. We're in for a long period of cold weather. In fact, from the National Weather Service, let's take a look at the first 7 days in March. What does it look like? It looks something like that. Partly sunny, partly cloudy, kind of a mix of both today. High of only 31, again, well below normal. Slight chance of snow tonight into Saturday. I wouldn't bet on it. 19 for the overnight low. Lots of clouds Saturday. We were hoping for sunshine. They're saying that's not going to be the case. High of only 33. That's all we're going to get to. Saturday night, chilly. 18 for the overnight low. Nice thing about this is it's not real windy, so the wind chills aren't going to be real bad. Look at the overnight low Sunday night, 11. Lots of sunshine Sunday, 27, 28, 31, 36, 37. A gradual warm-up, and I mean a real gradual warm-up. But even that 37-degree mark that you see on Thursday, that's still well below normal. And the long-term forecast for the month of March calls for cold, cold, cold temperatures for this time of year. But of course, it is March, which means two things. Spring is only 19 days away, and daylight saving time is only 10 days away. So there you go. The overall pattern continues. Not a lot of snow in the forecast, very little if at all, but the temperatures are going to be well below normal, 20 degrees below normal, what we should have this time of the year. We can't bust out of this Arctic cold snap. It's just not going anywhere. So that's the forecast. Let's take you up to the major mountain passes. Not a lot going on up there. That's a live shot of Stevens Pass. We're starting with Stevens apparently this morning. Traction tires are advised on Stevens with compact snow and ice in places. Scattered clouds up above. Looks pretty good to me, but they have a traction tire advisory and the State Patrol. They get to decide that. So there you go. That's Stevens Pass. Next up on the agenda is I-90. You can see it's kind of foggy there. No advisories, no restrictions on I-90. The roadway is bare and dry pretty much across the board. A couple of patches of ice. That's all you have to deal with on Snoqualmie Pass. Blewett Pass, no advisories, no restrictions. Roadway is bare and dry on Blewett. There you go. So we do have a traction tire advisory on Stevens Pass, but it looks fine. I mean, I'm seeing a lot of asphalt there at the summit of Stevens Pass, but still, traction tires are advisory. No advisories, no restrictions on Blewett. No snow really in the forecast. It'll be sunny for the most part up in the major mountain passes. Could get a half an inch Saturday, maybe a half an inch Saturday night, spilling into Sunday, but no significant snowfall is in the forecast for the Cascades. Looks like you're pretty much good to go. That is your weather forecast. That is your past report. It is 8 minutes after the hour. We're going to take a break. When we come back, your Friday morning news. You're watching Wake Up Wenatchee Valley live this morning from Studio 1 in downtown Wenatchee on the NCW Life channel.
My name is Hannah Peterson-Kinney, and I'm a certified nurse midwife. I became a midwife because I thought birth was one of the most amazing, beautiful things. It's about caring for women through many stages of life and helping to empower them with knowledge and build partners to improve their health. It would be an honor to provide care for you, and I would love to welcome you to the CVCH midwife family.
Hey everyone, did you know that the NCW Life channel is North Central Washington's go-to source for news? No matter how you prefer to view your news, NCW Life has you covered. Watch the evening news weeknights on TV, stream it, read it at ncwlife.com, or catch the latest news by following us on Facebook. Stay informed with local news, sports, weather, and shows featuring local people and events. NCW Life, a reflection and a spotlight of the communities we call home.
Welcome back. Overcast conditions, 21 degrees outside of our studios. Very cold temperatures for March is in the forecast for the foreseeable future. Here's what's making headlines on this Friday. 44-year-old Joseph Meadows of Chelan is in the Chelan County Regional Justice Center this morning, following his arrest Wednesday for stealing electronics equipment from a car at a North Wenatchee Avenue gas station and then trying to extort the victim. Captain Edgar Reinfeld of the Wenatchee Police Department tells us that because of the cooperation from the victim from the other side of the planet, he lives in New Zealand, law enforcement was able to recover the stolen property and make an arrest.
Back on Valentine's Day, on February 14th, at about 6:30 p.m., a visitor to our area, who was actually here from New Zealand for business, stopped to get gas at a gas station on North Wenatchee Avenue. He pumped his gas, walked away from his rental car, and went inside to pay. When he came back out, his backpack containing over $5,000 in equipment related to his work was gone. And as an officer responded, they pulled up the video and had great video of a male pulling up in a Dodge Challenger, getting out of the car, looking in the victim's car, opening it up, grabbing the backpack, and then taking off. Several cameras of location captured him, and we got really good views of the suspect and his vehicle, but we were not able to identify him at that point. However, on February 23rd or 24th, depending on how we look at the international dateline, the suspect emailed the victim saying he had an urgent business matter to discuss with him and needed a U.S. phone number to call him. And in the email address included the first initial, full middle name, and full last name of the suspect. The victim in New Zealand contacted our department, and the initial officer was able to very simply check that name in our local database and on Facebook both and find a suspect that matched the appearance of all these images from the cameras. So we now had a good suspect. The conversations continued on email with New Zealand to ask for further contact. So our victim in New Zealand had one of our detectives act as him, but used our detective's phone number to make contact with the suspect, who agreed to return the property for an incentive of a few $100s. So we set up a meet yesterday. Our detectives and our drug task force agents did a bust on the suspect when he appeared with the bag to sell it.
Meadows has been charged with vehicle prowl in the second degree, first degree theft, trafficking in stolen property in the first degree, and extortion in the first degree. Two drivers injured yesterday when their cars collided on an icy stretch of Highway 97. This happened about 5 miles north of Orondo. State troopers say it happened when 17-year-old William Schindler of Orondo lost control of his southbound vehicle, crossing into the northbound lane, and that vehicle struck a car driven by 43-year-old Olivia Acevedo of Monitor. Troopers say Schindler was driving too fast for the conditions. Both were treated at Central Washington Hospital. Well, a 5-story, 127-bed hotel being planned adjacent to Walla Walla Point Park in Wenatchee. An application by Seattle company River One Wenatchee LLC said the proposed site currently includes vacant land, a landscaping company, and an off-leash dog park. All the structures on the site would be demolished to make way for the hotel. The hotel will be a Residence Inn by Marriott, and the listed owner of the property is Robert and Linda Parlett Trustees. The hotel would be off Walla Walla Avenue and accessed from Riverwalk Drive. Public comments on the project will be taken by the city until March 7th. Well, we should know by the middle of this month who Governor Jay Inslee will appoint to replace retiring Douglas County Superior Court Judge John Hotchkiss. That's the word from the governor's aide, Tara Lee, who told us, and I'm quoting now, "Our legal team is conducting interviews this week and then vetting applicants." She added that, quote, "It will probably be at least another couple of weeks before we have a final candidate," end quote. Governor Jay Inslee will appoint a successor who's going to serve out the remainder of Hotchkiss's term that expires in 2020. The Chelan-Douglas County Bar Association will also provide the governor with recommendations of potential qualified candidates. Hotchkiss will retire at the end of this month after serving 20 years on the Douglas County Superior Court bench. Well, all this week we've been profiling the Horan House in this segment from an upcoming NCW Life Channel magazine. We visit with Rory Turner. He's a commissioner with the Chelan County Port District, and he works in historic renovation. He got involved in trying to save the Horan House from demolition because of its historical significance.
It's really at a tipping point. It either needs to be, moved or restored immediately because it's open to the elements now and it's really deteriorating pretty rapidly. So, we may have another week or two, but that's about it. I guess the passion that I have is for older buildings, regardless of what they are and what shape they're in. And I think they're time capsules to the past. And so once you lose them for good. I've been aware of the Horan House for a lot of years. When we first came to town, we had dinner out there. We moved here in the mid-90s, and it's just an extraordinary location, and historically it's very important. Beyond that, it's just a beautiful home, and you look past the cobwebs now and the broken windows, and if you can imagine what it was like back then. So I don't have any direct economic connection with this at all. I've no skin in the game, if you will. There's nothing that I have other than I just wanted to take one last shot at perhaps saving this. I wasn't aware that it was going to be torn down. Nevio is a great guy and has tried to do something with it for the last several years. Right now, the Chelan County PUD is in the process of acquiring around 20 acres to ultimately, they're considering moving their headquarters out there, or a portion of it. I don't think any decisions have been made, but they needed to create the opportunity for themselves to expand in a more centrally located area, because they service the entire county, right? So it made sense for them to do that. They are acquiring a piece of property that is adjacent to the Horan House. It's called the Horan Block. It used to be the orchard that was attached with it. The PUD would like to acquire this piece from Nevio as well, and certainly in his rights, he's gone through the Historic Preservation Board, and they've given it a ruling of non-significant significance at this point. And so it's Nevio's being very patient right now. He's got the go-ahead to demo it or do whatever he needs to do, but he's been gracious enough to give us some time. The bottom line is, if we don't have an ultimate use for this, a location for it perhaps, or a use on site that could provide us a stream of income or revenue, or be something that the public could use and value. If we don't have that, if we don't have a use for it, then, like any building at some point in time, particularly a wooden structure that was constructed without the benefits of, pressurized treated timber and things like that back in the 1800s, at some point in time, there's a tipping point where it's just not valuable anymore, other than the emotional value of having it. So I think we're there. And we haven't been able to come up with an ultimate use. And there has been a lot of interest, a lot of community interest, a lot of, people say, hey, you need a check, let me know. But if we don't have a use for it, then it's just a building, I guess, at that point in time. And if we would have started maybe a couple of years ago, I would say that the opportunity to succeed would have been a little greater. But, I didn't address it, and, my bad. I'll be sorry to see it go away. I won't be there when they tear it down if it gets torn down. It's not really emotional, but it's like, doggone it, I wish I would have taken on this project a couple of years ago, because I think I could have done something else. So I'm going to look at it personally as a little bit of a loss.
Once again, that NCW Life Channel magazine episode will air next week right here on this very station. Finally, hey, it's Friday. What's happening this weekend? I don't know, but Megan does. It's time for finding out what's happening this weekend with Megan McPherson.
Here's a look at what's on tap this weekend around the Wenatchee Valley. The 2019 Special Olympics Winter State Games will be held this Friday through Sunday. Come cheer on the thousands of athletes competing in 8 different sports. From Leavenworth to East and West Wenatchee to Mission Ridge, Special Olympics Washington brings one of the biggest events to the Wenatchee area. Join the Wenatchee Racquet and Athletic Club for the Spring Fling Racquetball Tournament that has been an ongoing annual tradition for 25 years. This is a Washington Racquetball Association and USA Racquetball sanctioned event. The locations are at the Rack and Wenatchee Valley College this Friday through Sunday. The cost is $50 for the first event and $25 for the second. Friday is the 11th annual Mobile Meals of Wenatchee Spring Variety Show Benefit Concert. This is a show with numerous talents performing. The show provides funds for the Mobile Meals nonprofit organization. The lobby opens at 6 p.m. with music by Mary Groff Sanders, and the actual show starts at 7 p.m. Tickets are only $12 and $8 for kids 12 and under. Matt Cadman will be the MC again this year, and there will be some returning acts and some new acts. Nick's Bricks is this Saturday from 10 to 3 at Pybus Public Market. There's no cost to participate and donations will be accepted. Legos will be provided and Nick's Bricks will include these activities: Lego make and take, Lego jewelry making, Lego spaceship making, Lego displays, Lego robotics demonstrations, door prizes, music, and snacks. And finally, the Upper Valley Empty Bowls Artist Showcase and Gala Reception is this Sunday from 5:30 to 7:30 p.m. This is an opportunity to view the 2019 bowls and platters created by 22 local artists and potters for the Empty Bowls online Artist Bowls auction. Join fellow community members and friends for an evening of art, wine, appetizers, and music at the Icicle Ridge Winery in Peshastin. Meet the featured artists and potters and raise funds for the community-covered food bank with a $20 suggested donation at the door. For more information on this weekend's events and others, visit the community calendar at ncwlife.com.
Thank you very much, Megan. And don't forget the news with Grant Olson at 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, and 10 o'clock. We'll wrap up everything that happened on this Friday in a tidy little package. Grant with the news, Eric with sports. 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, and 10 o'clock. It's also available on demand on our website at ncwlife.com. And if you want to get a hold of us, all the ways to do that are right at the bottom of your screen via our Facebook page or Twitter handle, email, phone, whatever the case may be. Get a hold of us. We love to hear from you, our viewers. We're going to take a break. When we come back, sports. You're watching Wake Up Wenatchee Valley on the NCW Life channel.
At Local Myth Pizza, we believe in real food, freshly prepared with only premium ingredients. Our cheeses are imported from Italy. Our sauces, dressings, and even our sausages are made in-house fresh daily. Featuring Northwest craft beers and 30 Chelan Valley wines and ciders. Family fun and amazing food. Eat local, drink local, and be local at Local Myth Pizza.
Come see why Sunset Magazine says you can't beat Local Myth Pizza.
I'm Jenny Rojanasatian, and this is Guada TV. Every week we will be bringing you a first look at North Central Washington business, tech, and education news. You'll hear from local influencers and innovators who live right here in the Valley. Together, we'll discuss hot topics, current events, and resources that can support your business, our schools, and this community. Join me every week, and let's get inspired.
Welcome back. 23 minutes after the hour. Let's do sports. There'll be a familiar team playing for a chance at a state championship today in Yakima. Eric Granstrom was in the Palm Springs of Washington State. He filed this report.
For the third straight year, the Cashmere Lady Bulldogs are heading to the state 1A semifinals after a 62-41 win over Annie Wright here in the quarterfinals in Yakima. The Bulldogs were led by the 29 points of Haley Van Lith, who left the game after a collision near center court that left her bleeding from the nose.
Yeah, I just got an outlet full speed and I was running, and one of the other team's players was like sitting right there and just punched me right in the face. So I don't think it was meant. I think it was just a hard foul on accident, but I might have a little bit of a shiner tomorrow, but all is good. So
it's never good when your best player goes out of the game, but it's happened a couple times before where she's been in foul trouble and we have to play without her. We have to play a little bit different, obviously, when Haley's out of the game. But you know what? I was proud how our girls handled the press when Haley wasn't out there. I was proud when we got down on the offensive end. Our execution was really good. And we were just kind of band-aiding that there for a while to hold on until she could kind of come back. And then when she came back, man, the afterburners got turned on and we really kind of turned it up there. So really proud of our girls. They did a good job. Peyton Brown come on off the bench, did a good job. And everybody was just very good game for us.
Speaking of defense, the biggest eruption from the bench came in the fourth quarter when Ellie Alberts took a charge.
That's because we're trying to get Ellie to take a charge all year long. It's hard. That's a tyrant. I said that in the locker room. I said, I never thought 2 years this would come out of my mouth, but I was hoping it would. Ellie, great job taking a charge, and she did. She was in the right spot at the right time, and just really proud of her. And that was a good game for her, too. I mean, she was she was good on both ends of the floor.
So that's because I've only taken one charge this whole entire season, and so he said keep taking a charge, and I kept wanting to go up and block a shot, and I kept getting fouls, so finally take a charge and everybody erupts.
Cashmere will face LaSalle in the semifinals today at 3:45 after the Lightning dispatched of Bellevue Christian 61-21. The Bulldogs faced LaSalle during the regular season on December 28th and lost 49-47. Darnell says he expects another close game today.
We had a great battle with LaSalle earlier this year, lost by 2. Riley Johnson had a 3 in the corner, a good look, almost went in. It's going to be a dogfight tomorrow, whoever we get. You know, if we come and show up and play like we did today, we'll be a tough team to beat tomorrow. But tomorrow's going to get tougher, better team. So we know we got our work cut out. But you know, we're excited. You know, we're enjoying this. So we're going to be ready to play. We'll be ready to play.
Also advancing to the semifinals is last year's state champion Linden Christian after they beat Elma in the quarterfinals 55-25. The Lions will face Medical Lake in the other semifinal. Here in Yakima, following the Cashmere Bulldogs at the Hardwood Classic, I'm Eric Grandstrom for NCW Life Channel Sports.
Thank you very much, Eric. Let's go to the Les Schwab Prep scoreboard from the state championships. The state 2B tournament is being held in Spokane as we speak. Brewster beat Willapa Valley yesterday. The final was 57-49, so they advanced to today's semifinal. They'll take on Kittitas at 3:45. Lake Roosevelt came up short in its quarterfinal. They fell to Life Christian Academy 64-44. The Raiders will play Toutle Lake in the consolation bracket this morning at 10:30. The Brewster girls, they're having to do a buzzsaw. On the other floor at Veterans Memorial Arena. Tri-Cities Prep advancing to the semifinals. They beat the Bears 75-43. It's off to the consolation bracket for Brewster. They'll try and bounce back. They take on St. George's today at 2. Almira Cooley Heartline flexing their collective muscle in Spokane to the 2B tournament. The Warrior boys back in the semis after yesterday's 54-37 win over Nacelle. ACH will play Yakima Tribal tonight at 9 o'clock for a shot at the state championship. On Saturday, Almira Cooley Heartline girls also in the semifinals. They beat Mount Vernon Christian 49-22. They will take on Pomeroy today at 5:30. The Wenatchee Wild begin defense of the Fred Page Cup tomorrow. Down Toyota Center, the site, Game 1 of the first-round BCHL playoffs against West Kelowna. The Warriors are the number 6 seed. Wenatchee is the number 3 seed. These two teams split their regular season meetings 3-3. Arch Ecker, by the way, will be joining us to preview that series a little bit later on Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. Mariners improved their Cactus League record to 4-2. They beat Chicago, the White Sox, 8-3 yesterday. Felix Hernandez pitching 3 innings, his longest outing of the spring so far, allowed a couple of runs, 3 hits, 4 strikeouts. Game was close until the 8th inning. That's when Kyle Lewis and Braden Bishop gave Seattle some breathing room.
It's a hit, I guess, right? Hey, if you're 18 years old, most kids are still in high school when they're 18 years old.
Here's Kyle Lewis getting a hold of one deep. Left center field. That one, a souvenir on the berm. So we want to talk about some youngsters making an impact. Rodriguez and Kyle Lewis back-to-back. And Lewis finally able to be healthy, Val, and participate in his first spring training. A couple of games here, too. So future is bright with those two guys in the Mariners. There's Braden Bishop in the box here, 2-1 count. 2 outs, and he gets a hold of one to left field. Does that have the carry? It sure does.
Oh, my.
How about Braden Bishop? Adding a long ball to his skill set, putting a little power there. Speed guy, defensive guy. Bat came around last year. We heard Darren Brown talk about it before he got injured. Hit by a pitch. He was putting up some big numbers. Now Bishop with a big fly. The lead now 8-3.
Seattle hosts Milwaukee today, by the way, at 12:10. And finally, men's college basketball. Number 1 Gonzaga, no problems against Pacific, 86-66. The Huskies lost to Cal. Cal has not won a conference game all year until last night. Huskies still, by the way, clinched the Pac-12 championship all to themselves, and the Cougars just continue to be the Cougars. They can't play basketball out of a paper bag. Stanford beat them by 48 points. Ouch. And those are just some of the games that people are playing at 29 minutes after they are the obscure holiday. It's National Pig Day. Yes, they're cute little piggies. Goes back to 1972. Ellen Stanley and Mary Lynn Rave of Lubbock, Texas decided to start National Pig Day. Pigs are often mistaken as dirty animals, but pigs are actually some of the cleanest animals on the earth. They will not defecate where they sleep. Even newborn piglets leave the safety of their bed to do their business at a different location. They are very, very intelligent. They have an incredible sense of smell. In fact, scientists believe that their sense of smell is more powerful than even dogs. Some debate on how it should be observed. Do we give the pig a break today and not eat pork products, or do we eat nothing but bacon and sausage and ham? Celebrate it any way you want. Happy National Pig Day. Let's do today in history. It is the first day of March, and it's the 152nd birthday of Nebraska. The Cornhusker State became the 37th state on this date. Back in 1867, they are, of course, the Cornhusker State, and, of course, they're the only state whose legislature is unicameral, which means officially nonpartisan. They just have one. They don't have a Senate, House of Representatives. Everybody is officially nonpartisan. And here's one thing I like about the legislature, and we can take a lesson from this, everybody. The rules in the Nebraska State Legislature is that bills can contain only one subject. That's it. That's it. I like that. Happy 152nd birthday to Nebraska. And this is the 109th anniversary of the Wellington train disaster. For 9 straight days, the last 9 days of February 1910, it snowed and snowed and snowed and snowed and snowed and snowed, and a couple of trains got stuck in Wellington. One was a passenger train, one was a mail train, and then the next day, after all of this snow, a huge Chinook came in. Temperatures skyrocketed, got very warm, it started to rain, and a huge slab of snow broke loose from the side of Windy Mountain, came down, wiped out both trains, and it killed 96 people. The worst avalanche in American history happened right in our own backyard back in 1910 on the state. Finally, we got some birthdays for you. On this March 1st, Harry Carey. There's Harry Carey, the voice of the Cubs and the White Sox and the Athletics and the Browns and the Cardinals. The great Harry Carey was born to this date in 1914. We miss Harry. Harry passed away a number of years ago at the age of 83. The legendary sportscaster Harry Carey. Roger Daltrey, the lead singer of The Who, or as they say in Great Britain, the O. Roger, that's still Harry Carey. Roger Daltrey is 75 years old today. Of course, he's in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. He doesn't look like Harry Carey, by the way. Roger Daltrey is allergic to cannabis smoke, and so he asks people in the front row of Who concerts not to smoke any weed because he can't handle it. My favorite Roger Daltrey story, he was a straight-A student. There's Roger. He was a straight-A student until he discovered rock and roll. That was the end of that. Roger Daltrey is 75 years old today. Ron Howard is 65 years old today. Burst on the American scene, of course, with the Andy Griffith Show. He was Opie. Then Happy Days. He was in the film American Graffiti. And The Shootist, directed Apollo 13, The Beautiful Mind, The Da Vinci Code. Ron Howard, 65. And happy birthday to Jeannie McPherson. There's Jeannie. That's Megan's mom. She celebrates a birthday today. We know how old she is. Not going to say. Wow, this show's flying right by. We got to take a quick break. When we come back, everyone is entitled to Mike McNally's opinion and my conversation with Arch Ecker. It's time to talk Wild playoff hockey. You're watching Wake Up Wenatchee Valley on the NCW Life channel.
If you're stuck trying to find the perfect beer for you, look no further than Badger Mountain Brewing. We specialize in creating tantalizing craft beers that will soothe any picky taste buds and will satisfy your cravings. Check out everything from our amazing honey blonde that will appease even the most finicky taster, or a delicious frothy stout for dark beer lovers. Experience them all at Badger Mountain Brewing.
SkillSource specializes in assessing and guiding youth, adults, and laid-off workers who want to improve their skills. Here you can attend in-depth workshops to assess skills and interests, make career plans, and learn computer basics.
Learning centers provide eligible youth and adults individualized computer-assisted basic education. Vocational training is arranged with approved providers like community colleges or on the job with businesses.
Don't wait any longer. Let's get working on the future you've been dreaming about.
I'm Tom from Alpine Air Heating and Cooling. At Alpine Air, we think of ourselves as customer service oriented retailers. When you make an appointment, please visit our store, meet our people, see our shop. We are serious about heating and air conditioning. Carrier and Alpine Air are offering huge factory rebates and financing options for all your needs. Turn to the experts at Carrier and Alpine Air. Call for your free replacement estimate. Heat and air, call Alpine Air, 662-6846.
You don't have to be a member to enjoy the view and dine-in style at Highlander Bar and Grill in East Wenatchee. Open 7 days a week, Highlander Grill offers breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Dine in or take it to go, our friendly staff is here to serve you. Reservations recommended for Friday night's prime rib dinner. Call for live music dates. Hi, I'm Shalane, site coordinator for Highlander Grill. Give me a call to schedule your event today.
Hey, this is Mike Mad Dog Magnotti, and everybody is entitled to my opinion. Now, the Federal Assault Weapons Ban of 1994 banned the following weapons: semi-automatic rifles that were able to accept detachable magazines and have 2 or more of the following: a folding or telescoping stock, a pistol grip, a bayonet mount, a flash suppressor, and a grenade launcher. Okay, fine. But you know what weapon the ban didn't cover? A Ruger Mini 14 rifle. What's relevant about this weapon is that it shoots in semi-automatic mode, can accept a 30-round magazine, and fires a .223 caliber round, just like the AR-15. But the Ruger's not considered an assault weapon. Give that some thought. This is Mike Mad Dog Magnotti, and that's my opinion.
There's no substitute for the power of cable TV advertising. With Solion Cable TV Advertising, you can reach your target audience right here in North Central Washington. We understand their viewing habits and can precisely target your customers on great cable networks like these. Call Solion Broadcasting today and let us show you how to put your business message right in front of thousands of prospects at a very affordable price. Solion Broadcasting, 509-888-2020.
Hi, I'm Kevin Prosser, and this is my print shop, Color Effects in Cashmere. Color Effects offers screen printing, embroidery, and digital printing on t-shirts, jerseys, bags, banners, signs, and more. With 30 years experience, you won't be disappointed with the quality and quick turnaround times you will get at more than a fair price. Please call Color FX.
Welcome back to Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. I am Dan Kuntz. His name is Freddie, and he hangs around the offices of the Wenatchee Wild at the Town Toyota Center. He's become a good friend of everybody who not only works for the team, but the team itself. I'm talking about the Fred Page Cup, and we want to keep it. We want to retain it. And here to talk about the playoffs. They're back again. Hopefully another deep, deep run for the Wenatchee Wild. The prodigal son has returned, the broadcasting voice of the Wenatchee Wild, your friend and mine, Arch Ecker.
Hey, good to be here.
It's about time.
I know, right?
Yeah.
It's okay though.
Yeah, we've paid a visit with Arch a couple of times during the hockey season. We met Arch on his terms and on his turf.
That's right.
At the Town Toyota
It's
Center.
nice to be back in here though with the old familiar surroundings.
Yeah.
You know,
I
that
miss
brick
you.
wall back there that I autographed. It's kind of hard to see because it was really small, but.
How you doing, buddy? I mean, let's catch up. How you doing? I mean,
doing okay.
Yeah.
It's been quite the season. It seemed to go by very quickly on one hand, but as Bliss said, he said, well, I wasn't the guy filling out the lineup sheet because the middle part of the season we were really short and it just seemed like, oh man, it kind of drug on in a way. But and I think part of it just has to do with the fact that it was the shortest summer we've ever had.
Yeah.
Because of the long run in the playoffs last year, and all of a sudden, bam, we were back at it, and now it's holy cow, you open your eyeballs and it's playoff time again, and you know, but it's exciting. This is why you do it. This is what really gets the blood flowing, is playoffs.
As Arch mentioned, it was a weird year. The Billett families didn't even get to know their players, and then they were gone for 11 straight games. Their first 11 games were on the road before they finally got to come back to the Town Toyota Center. Had a little dip in the season, some injuries, as happens, and now they're playing, I think, their best hockey of the year now, which is when you want to play your best hockey of the year. I guess the first question, Arch, is how's the health of the team? Now they've had this 2-week break between the end of the regular season and the start of the playoffs. Everybody healthy, ready to go?
Well, yeah, and it's about a 10-day break, but you know, anytime you start talking about the health of the team, you got to do this along with it, because boy, you know, it can be fleeting. You know, and getting a team that's feeling strong and healthy at this time of year is really the ultimate goal. You may recall a couple of years ago, we made it into the postseason with a team that was loaded for bear.
Best record in the league. And
best record in the league. I mean, you know, the guys like, you know, Brendan Harris, Charlie Combs, Troy Conzo, Matt Baker, Tyler Rockwell, all these guys have been around for a long time. That was a team that was built to go deep, and then, bam, injuries happened, and next thing you know, we're on the outside looking in. Last year we got healthy and put together a good run at the right time, and you know, obviously it paid off. So, yeah, this year, you know, the guys are feeling pretty good and a little confident, as well they should. You know, the last couple of games of the regular season, well, really, actually the last three, we won all three, but the last two being even more challenging because they were on the road, and they were both against teams that had a lot to play for. For Salmon Arm, who we played last Tuesday, they were battling for home ice advantage in the playoffs. They were still within striking range of the number 4 seed. And so they came out ready to go. So it wasn't like, you know, sometimes you get to the last 2 games of the season and you're kind of just going through the paces, trying not to get hurt, and just tuning up a little bit for the playoffs. Maybe you rest a couple of your better guys, that kind of thing. But that really wasn't the case. We took on a motivated team in their place and put together a very solid effort and got the win. And then the following night, we had to play in Penticton.
South Okanagan Event Center is a tough place to play, and Penticton is a long-time power in the league. And you went into their own building and you beat them.
And we beat them. And you know what was impressive about that? I mean, you're talking about a team that's battling for their 8th consecutive Interior Division championship. They know that Merritt was nipping at their heels, and they were looking to try to get some distance. They had a game in hand, and that was the one against us. And again, the Wild pulled out a big victory. Only allowed 2 goals over the last 2 games. Stopped 53 of 55 shots, all told. You know, and what was nice to see too, you know, you can say whatever you want about, you know, when guys are out of the lineup and, you know, other players stepped into the role and helped, but when those key players came back, like 14 of the last 19 points came from those players that had been gone. So it makes a big difference when you're, you know, when you get the team put back together the way it was constructed to operate. You know, when coaches are putting teams together over the summer and the early part of the season, you know, it's very much a puzzle. You're trying to get the pieces that meld well together.
What lines work, all that stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not just a matter of, well, I guess this guy can get by with this guy, which is what we kind of ended up having to do. It's like, well, we can kind of make this work. And we did, because the guys really stepped up. But then when you get back to, okay, now this is the way it was designed to operate, then it started to really click. And you know, the guys can feel it. The energy permeates throughout the room, throughout the bus. The guys are feeling good, and you know, that goes a long way too. Not just X's and O's. It's all about what you feel in here. And right now, I think the guys are feeling it.
What have they been doing for the last 10 days? It's a pretty lengthy break between hockey games that count. What's been the schedule over the last 10 days?
You know, it's an interesting combination because, you know, on one hand, you've got all those players that have been out, and you really want to try to get them back to game speed, because that's almost impossible to replicate in a practice situation. But you do what you can to try to get that going. But at the same time, rest is key as well, because there's a whole, aside from those injured players, there's a significant faction of guys that have been overworked for a period of time. So getting that rest, it's a difficult balance. And the coaches are very keen on monitoring that, and you know, they may call a practice short, they may take a day off or whatnot, just depending on how they feel the guys are responding. And of course, you know, God bless Bliss. I mean, he's been doing this for so long that, you know, he's got a really good grasp of how his team is, how they're operating, and so he knows when to step on the gas and when to tap the brakes a little.
We're no strangers to West Kelowna. We play them a lot every year. Played them 6 times this year, split the season series, 3 games apiece. We got some highlights from November. Back on November 23rd and November 24th, West Kelowna came to town And as we watch the highlights from last November, both of these, by the way, Wenatchee Wild victories, talk a little bit about the Warriors.
Well, you know, the Warriors are a team that has really had kind of a topsy-turvy year. I mean, here's a bunch of guys that show up to camp and their head coach resigns right at the first day of camp. So then they have one of the assistant coaches gets promoted, and they're like, okay, so we're going that direction. Well, then the new owner decides that he's going to relieve that coach of his duties.
They've had 3 coaches this year?
Well,
okay, go ahead. Go ahead, Arch.
So his name's Jeff Grimwood, so they released him. Well, the players didn't care for that much, so the players boycotted the next practice, went for a hike as a team. They basically forced the hand of the owner. The owner brought the coach back. So the fired coach, not the first one, but the second one, they brought him back, Grimwood, and that pleased the players, and everybody got back together, and they hit the ice again. So, you know, that's a lot of ruckus going on early in the year, but you know, they plowed through it, and give them credit. I mean, they're a tough out. They have been all year. Now, granted, we haven't seen them since Thanksgiving weekend, but those games head to head with West Kelowna, they were battles.
That victory that you just saw was from November 23rd, and that was a 6-3 victory. Now we're going to show the following night. Scoring 6 goals on any team is impressive. Can you see this team scoring 6 goals on West Kelowna, or is, by definition, the playoff, the games get tighter and the scoring is less?
Well, you know, they can, and a lot of times it depends on the team and what any particular team's strength might happen to be. Now, sometimes they'll really try to choke you down and slow the game to a crawl, and they'll try to grind out the 2-1 road win or the 3-2 road win and take the speed away from us. But other teams that enjoy their own speed and are willing to get into a track meet with you, well, then you go at it from that direction. But you know, for West Kelowna, I think they're a team. They've got a few veteran guys on there, and they're a team that likes to wheel. They like to get up and down the ice a little bit. So I don't really expect to see really tight, locked down, low-scoring games. I expect to see both teams kind of going hard at it. And
speaking of going hard at it,
speaking of going hard at it, Nathan Iannone, boy, fans love him. Last year, he was the fan favorite, and you can kind of see why there. Gets her going. We'll throw in the mitts.
Yeah, Nathan's very much a team leader. You know, you hear about Gocheski and Souder and Arnold and Sasaki and Brandon, but the players, the fans love him, and I'm sure the players look up to that guy as a.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, and that's one of the strengths of the Wenatchee Wild right now is the good, strong core leadership. You know, with guys like Lucas Souder and Chad Sasaki and, you know, Jacob Modry. Those 3 guys have been here for the last 3 seasons. So they've seen a lot, and they know what it takes to win. And the new guys that have come in, you know, your PJ Fletchers and AJ Hodges and some of those first-year guys, they're getting tutelage really from the best possible source, and that's guys that have walked the walk. So the leadership that we have, and there's the coach, he was really unhappy.
Yeah, I remember that very well indeed. Is there any fallover from you saw the fisticuffs, and there's the coach being ejected, and of course West Kelowna also had another gentleman who was shown to the showers. Is that all in the past? What happened, the shenanigans back in Thanksgiving weekend, or do they remember that?
To some extent, you know. Well, you know, it's interesting. You know, rivalries a lot of times get forged, you know, in playoff series. And, you know, for example, you know, we had pretty good rivalries with Langley and Chilliwack when we were in that division. And even though we're not in that division anymore, those rivalries still kind of spill over. And, you know, now that we've played, you know, some of these other teams with Merritt and Trail, and some of that spills over a little bit. But, you know, with West Kelowna, we haven't really seen them in a postseason yet, and it's been months now. And I don't think it'll take long. I think this matchup will get a little feisty. Mm-hmm. And it probably will happen sooner rather than later. I think typically when teams meet in the first game, there's a little bit of a feeling out process, and, you know, okay, let's see what they're going to do. It happens on both sides. It's just kind of human nature. But you know, as soon as you get that first bump that somebody doesn't like, or, you know, the first, what they call the stinky mitt, when you put the hand in someone's face. You know, you get some of that going, and boy, it can escalate quickly. But you know, we'll see how it goes. I know for Wenatchee, one of the least penalized teams in the league, they really try to stay away from too much of that. They won't back down from it, but you have to be smart about when you allow yourself to get derailed and focus on the wrong things, because you know, when you're battling shorthanded, you got guys in the penalty box. Well, it wears on you. It wears on the penalty killers, and now all of a sudden it's, you know, things get to be a little more of an uphill climb, and so you have to be real cautious about it. But I think, again, with our leadership, not just on the bench as far as the veteran players, but the guidance from the coaching staff, the guys have done a really good job at minding their P's and Q's in that regard.
The Wild have home ice advantage on this first round, games 1 and 2 here in town, and then games 6 and 7 if necessary back here, with games 3, 4, and 5 up in West Kelowna. The importance of home ice advantage once you get to the playoffs, pretty big, isn't it?
Well, it can be. You know, we've proven it. I mean, last year we went 13-0 here in this building, and you know,
hey, there we go again.
But yeah, I mean, the fans here provide a palpable energy. You know, and everybody is obviously going to enjoy a little bit of a boost from playing at home, and you know, in different buildings maybe provide different characteristics. For example, merit being the physical characteristics of that building maybe play to the strengths of that team. So some of that factors in. But you know, guys have talked about it, you know, year in, year out, as the season wears on. You get to the end of the year and you talk about things that they recall looking back. They just say that, holy smokes, they go, the energy was like when they come out from through that wolf head and hit the ice and the fans are going. I mean, they feel it. I mean, you can literally feel it, and it really does. I'll bet you if Mythbusters did a special on it, they would prove that there is an extra step, an extra ounce of energy comes from that. So yeah, having home ice advantage, it's huge. But you know what, the Wild they'll be fine either way. Last year, Vernon, didn't have home ice against them.
Yep.
But we still pulled it out in 6. So, you know, good hockey teams find a way, and I think we're very blessed to be looking at a really good hockey team here in Wenatchee.
If you go to the Town Tennis Center tonight to watch hockey, you won't. You'll see the opening ceremonies of the Winter Special Olympics. They play Saturday and then Sunday, and this is very critical. Sunday's game is at 6, not 7. So Saturday, 7 o'clock is when they drop the puck, a little after 7 o'clock, and then Sunday at 6 they get the day off, and then games 3, 4, and 5, if necessary, up in West Kelowna. And in fact, we have the bracket. Megan, go ahead and throw up the playoff bracket for the BCHL playoffs. Is this a friendly bracket for Wild fans? Are they thinking, hey, you know, we can get deep again this year because?
Well, you know what?
Don't take anything for granted. Okay.
There's nothing friendly about the interior division. It's the toughest division in all of Canadian junior hockey across the 10 leagues. You know, you look back over the NHL draft picks over the last several years, and the majority of them come out of this division. So, yeah, it's going to be a battle regardless. So, you know, we come in as the number 3 seed. Last year we were the number 3 seed and found a way through it. So, you know, that doesn't really scare us being the number 3 seed. All I know is right now we have one job, and that's to worry about West Kelowna, and whatever happens after that, it's really out of our control. If we are fortunate enough to make it to the next round, then we'll address that opponent at that time and see how it goes.
One last question for Arch Ecker, the broadcasting voice of the Wenatchee Wild. By the way, if you can't make it to the Town Tennis Center, you can watch it on Hockey TV or listen to Arch on KPQ, which is the radio home. One last question. There's always turnover in junior hockey. I mean, you age out and you have to move on. But the fact that this team been there and done that last year, how important is that? They know what it takes to win Freddie, to take Freddie home, and they did it. They know how to do it. Is that?
Well, it's obviously having that kind of leadership and experience helps, you know, and many times you'll see where, you know, even in the pro ranks, where a trade will be made, an acquisition, to bring in a guy that's won before because of what that presence can do. And, you know, because until you've done it, you can't imagine it. because it's a grind. You know, and at this age level, when you think about National Hockey League, you got to win 16 games to win the Stanley Cup, and the same is true in the BCHL. That is a grind. When we were in the North American League, you only had to win 6 games to get to the Robertson Cup tournament. Now you got to win 16 games. That's 4 best-of-7 series. With all the travel and everything else that goes along with it, it's taxing. And so you have to be smart about how you approach it. You have to respect, and we talk about respecting the process, but I mean, you really do. You have to respect your body. You have to respect getting the rest you need. You have to, when the team has stretches and they go through those kind of things that are designed to help rejuvenate the body, you know, the guys have to get into it. They have to really embrace it, because, you know, sometimes guys are like, well, you know, we're going to have a stretch, and they just kind of go through the motions. Because, you know what, sometimes, hey, you know, we were all 16, 17, 18-year-old, right? I mean, sometimes you take shortcuts, but you know what? You take shortcuts, then you get a short season. You get to go home early. And for the guys that really don't and embrace the process, those are the guys that are still standing in May.
7 o'clock Saturday night, 6 o'clock on Sunday at the Town Toyota Center. Get your tickets now. It's playoff hockey. Now it really counts. Arch, it's good to see you. By the way, we'll have highlights of both Games 1 and Games 2 on Monday morning's edition of Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. Do I get to see you again real soon, bud?
I'm hoping so.
The
sounds like a good
playoff beard's looking good.
I know, it's getting started.
I want him looking like Abe Lincoln by the middle of May, folks, or at least maybe Billy Gibbons from ZZ Top. One of the two.
Either or Grizzly Adams.
There you go.
Right, and Grizzly Adams has a beard.
Whiskers. Arch, it's good to see you.
You as well. All tickets are $10, by the way. All seats.
Go Wild. You're watching Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. We'll be right back.
Dear Mary Maids, just got home from a trade show and I didn't have time to pick up the house. Kids made chili. Jeff did a mud run. Oh, and Winston shredded Teddy's bed. Again, please clean it the best you can. Oh, except for the statue Max made for me. Thanks, Abby.
Hi, Abby. Clean kitchen, clean bath, clean floor, naughty cat. Poor Teddy. The statue is precious. You should keep it forever. See you next time, Mary Maids.
It's estimated that 1/3 of Americans do not have a financial plan. At D.A. Davidson, their advisors are working to change that because they understand the importance of planning for the future. At D.A. Davidson, they believe in partnering together to build a strategy tailored to your needs. They spend the time and have the knowledge to help keep your financial future on track. Let D.A. Davidson Financial Advisors of Wenatchee put the strength of advice to work for you.
Looking at a live shot down there of intersection of Mission and Ferry, a two-vehicle collision at Mission and Ferry, one of the busiest intersections in the Wenatchee Valley. Two-vehicle, they're still causing some traffic delays. It's still blocking some traffic, as you can see down there. There's some law enforcement folks, so you want to avoid that area if you possibly can when that gets cleared out. If it gets cleared out in the not-too-distant future, we'll be sure to let you know. Again, this is a two-car blocking accident at the intersection of South Mission and Ferry Street, putting a little bit of a kink in your Friday morning commute. It is Friday. It's the first day of March, but the forecast still feels like February. Going to be cold. Let's take a look at the forecast from the National Weather Service. Can't bust out of this Arctic air. No real snow in the forecast. 20% chance of snow. Probably not going to get any. That's overnight tonight into Saturday. Outside of that, the big story once again, chilly temperatures well below normal. Our normal high temperature this time of the year is right around 47 or 48 degrees, and we're not going to get anywhere near that. And believe it or not, according to the National Weather Service, this is the long-term forecast. All the way through the middle of March is going to call for temperatures well below normal. So don't dust off the golf clubs and the baseball mitts just yet. We're not there yet. So partly sunny today, high of about 31. Again, these overnight lows, very chilly. It's just cold. But it looks like we're kind of done with the snow. And if you didn't join us at the beginning of the show about an hour ago, we had the snowiest February on record with that 3 inches of snow that we got on the 27th that put us over the top. It broke the old record that was set back in 1938. Have yourself a great weekend, by the way. We'll be right back at it again here on Monday. To all the Special Olympians in town, welcome to the big city. Enjoy your weekend here and all the competition. Go Bulldogs, Cashmere girls. See if you can take home a state title. They still got 2 games to go. They got semifinals tonight and hopefully the championship game tomorrow in Yakima. Go Wild too. All right. Everybody have a great weekend. We will see you Monday. Take care and bye-bye.